Good evening, everyone. I would normally be welcoming you to a regular meeting of council, but we're not going to be doing that first tonight, as many of you know. We're all glad to see you here and glad it's not a public hearing night. We are gathered here tonight on the traditional territory of the Snuneymuxw First Nation for the Civic, Sport, and Culture Merit Awards. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. My role is to step outside and have a face for radio, stand beside all of you as you get your picture taken later. I'm delighted tonight to ask a fellow councillor and our longest serving member of our current Councillor Ian Thorpe over here to my right, who's going to preside over the proceedings tonight. As all of you outstanding local leaders and recipients get the honor that you deserve tonight. So with that, I'm going to absent myself. Councillor Thorpe, you're in charge.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very dangerous, Your Worship. However, thank you and welcome everybody. I am Councillor Ian Thorpe, and it's an absolute pleasure for me this evening to be MC for this very special event as we present the City of Nanaimo Civic Sport Merit Awards. And you know, it's always enjoyable, I know for myself, to recognize talent in our city, and we have so much of it, an amazing number of people in so many different areas to be proud of. Now, each year, City of Nanaimo presents certificates of congratulations and also medallions to individuals, groups, teams, or clubs who, through their endeavors, have brought recognition to our city at either a provincial, Western Canadian, national, or even international level during the past year. Recipients must have been nominated through the city website. They must have won gold medals in their event, and they must be residents of the City of Nanaimo or now one of our neighboring regional districts such as Cedar, Gabriola, or Lantzville. And we're really pleased to have Lantzville Mayor Mark Swain and Councillor Jonathan Lerner here to help with presentations, along with Councillor Eastmuir and Councillor Hemmons. This year, we had 139 nominations for these presentations, largely, I think, due to Nanaimo, as many of you are well aware, Nanaimo hosting the 55-plus games last September. That involved 21 different sports. We have 77 recipients here this evening, athletes who brought honor to our city for their outstanding performance, gold medals. And for those who are not able to join us here tonight, of course, we'll make sure that they do receive their medals and certificates. Now, we'll try to move through things as efficiently as possible, and here's what it's going to look like. Throughout the ceremony, each group of recipients will be called to the front, just in front of me here, if you could make your way when you're called. When you hear your sports group, just come down to this area in front of me, and then I will name each person individually, hopefully in alphabetical order. And when I announce your name, just come past me to my left. I'll be happy to shake your hand. You'll receive your certificate and medallions from our councillors and Mayor Swain. And then if you would, keep on going, head out the doors over to my far left. As the mayor indicated, there will be a photo opportunity with Mayor Krogh, and then a large group photo at the very end of our ceremony. So let's get underway. We have a large number of gold medal winners at a provincial level because, as I indicated, they represented Nanaimo at the 55-plus BC Games. We're going to start with winners from archery and badminton. If you could make your way in front of me here, please. Okay, just hold. Perfect. And while we're getting organized here, I'll just mention that the next groups following this will be carpet bowling and cribbage, just so you know. All right, let's start with gold medal in archery. My old friend Gary Brownhill. Gary, welcome and congratulations. Please, come ahead. Gary won gold for target barebow men's 84 plus. And from archery 3D barebow men's 84 plus as well, Michael Clark. Michael, congratulations. Please. Next, from badminton, gold medal in 70 to 74 competitive singles women, doubles competitive women, and also competitive mixed doubles, Jean Albert. Congratulations, Jean. Well done. For 60 to 64 recreational women's doubles and competitive mixed doubles, Kathy Beddoes. Is Kathy here? There she is. Hi, Kathy. Congratulations. For 65 to 69 recreational men's singles and recreational men's doubles, this is Nicola Biga. From 75 to 79, competitive singles men and competitive mixed doubles, Thomas Lewis. Tom, congratulations. '60 to 64, competitive singles for women and competitive doubles for women. Jai Lin. Congratulations. For recreational men's doubles 70 to 74, Wa Fi Lo. Congratulations. Well done. For 70 to 74 recreational women's doubles and 75 to 79 competitive mixed doubles, Mary Mark. Congratulations. Next, 60 to 64 recreational men's doubles, Greg Stevenson. Hi, Greg. Congratulations. Well done. And for men 70 to 74 competitive mixed doubles, David Wong. Oh, David, thank you.
Where we're trying to entice him to come back to play badminton.
Thank you, thank you. That's beautiful. I just wish I was old enough for the 55 plus games. And one more badminton award, and it is for 60 to 64 recreational women's doubles, Jiafai Feng. Congratulations. Now we're going to do carpet bowling and cribbage next, everybody, and following those we will have 5-pin bowling, golf, and hockey. So we'll start with carpet bowling. We have 3 recipients. For the 55 plus, one team of 3 mixed, Carla Ellis. Carla. Congratulations. She's gone. Oh well. You'll get a picture outside. Right this way. You can't come back for another one, Gary. Not till next year. Also with carpet bowling, 55 plus, one team of 3 mixed, Colleen Grandal. Hey, Colleen, congratulations. And finally for carpet bowling, 55 plus, one team of 3 mixed, Lynn Reagan. Congratulations, well done. Now our gold medal winner for cribbage, 55 plus pairs, Flight C, William Sawchuk. William. Congratulations. And we're going to turn, as I said, to 5-pin bowling, golf, and hockey. Could those people come over into this area, please? We'll start with the bowlers, 5-pin bowling, men's singles. Our gold medal winner, Don Campbell. Don. For high pins over average for women and high single pins over average and high 6 scratch, Maureen Carr. Well done. Congratulations. And finally from bowling for high 6 scratch women, Linda Lou Charbonneau. Congratulations. Well done. Now we turn to golf. For 55 to 74, low gross men, gold winner for Perry, gold medal rather, for Perry Rivard. Do you give lessons? No. Oh. And for 55 to 74 low gross men in golf, Cam Scott. Hey, Cam, congratulations. And we have gold medal winners, and again, this is all from the 55 plus games. Representing Nanaimo and area, Richard Fontaine. Richard. Well done. Also with hockey, Gary McDonald. Gary not here this evening? All right, Rob McHattie. There, Rob. Congratulations. And is Ron Simon with us this evening? Here he comes, Ron. Thank you for coming. Congratulations. We're going to do ice curling next. Could the curlers come over in front of me, please? And we're going to start with 65 plus mixed, Susan Chappelle. Hey, Susan, congratulations. Next, 55 to 64 mixed, Elaine Cloutier. Elaine, great to see you. 65 plus mixed, Carol Dorman. Carol, congratulations. Great to see you. And a couple of fellows who have beaten me very often on the curling ice. 55 to 64 mixed, Bob Franklin. Congratulations, Bob. Well done. And finally, 55 to 64 mixed, Mike Kenefick. Hey, Mike, thanks for being here. And now, folks, we're going to take lawn bowling and pickleball. Could we have the gold medal winners from those two groups come over to this area, please? And we're going to start with lawn bowling for 55 plus mixed pairs, Ann Ewer. Hi, Ann. Thanks for being here. That's great. And also for the 55 plus mixed pairs, Ian Ewer. Well done, Ian. Now for pickleball, I think I'm safe to say it was the most popular game in the 55 plus games, and we had 3 gold medal winners from our area, starting with 65 to 74, 3.5 doubles for women, Jan Fontaine. Hey, Jan. Well done. Congratulations. And next, 65 to 74, 3.5 doubles women, Anne Grant. Not here this evening. All right, thank you. So we'll move on to Wendola Large. No? Oh, please, come. Don't be shy. Congratulations. Yes, that's great. Good to see you. Thank you. I'd like the slow pitch winners to come over to the area in front of me next, please. 55 plus games gold medal winners in slow pitch, and we have a number of them. All right, gold medal winners from the 55 plus games in slow pitch. We're starting with Glenn Antosky. Glenn, come on down. Congratulations, Glenn. Thank you. And Glenn, as we can tell from his shirt, played with the Silver Streaks. And also from the Silver Streak, 65 plus mixed, Dan Bazkowski. Bazowski, sorry, Dan. Well done. Congratulations. For 65 plus mixed, from the Silver Streaks, Evelyn Bazowski. Oh, good hustle. Well done. Congratulations. Still with the Silver Streaks, 65 plus mixed, Stephen Calder. Hi, Stephen. Well done. Thank you. Good for you. Still with 65 plus mixed, William Dryden from the Silver Streaks. Congratulations. 65 plus mixed, Silver Streaks, Shelley Felton. Hi, Shelley. Congratulations. And also with the 65 plus mixed category, the Silver Streaks, Doug Hammermeister. Hi, Doug. Congratulations. From 55 plus mixed softball with Hazelwood Construction, Shariar Hessen. And from the 55 plus mixed Hazelwood Construction team, Bryce Haluka. Bryce, congratulations. For the 65 plus mixed Silver Streaks, John Huff. Hey, John, well done. And for 65 plus women, Judy Mitchell. Hi, Judy, congratulations. Still with softball from the 55 plus mixed Hazelwood Construction, Julie Roberge. Hey, Julie. Good to see you. '65 plus women, Lynn Scarsbrook. I'm not sure if Lynn is here. Yes, there she is. Hi, Lynn. Good to see you. And finally, from slow pitch, 55 plus mixed Hazelwood Construction, Susan Whitaker. Thanks, Susan. Congratulations. And next, we're going to move to soccer and swimming. If you were in one of those sports, if you could come over here, please. We'll start with the gold medal winners from the 60 plus men's soccer and the 55 plus games. Richard Henderson. Richard, well done. Thank you very much. And also from 60 plus men's soccer, Jeff Till. Hi, Jeff. Nice to see you again. Well done. Now to swimming, starting with the 70 to 74 100-meter freestyle women, also a winner in 50-meter freestyle women, backstroke for women, and the women's 4x25-meter medley relay. Gold medals in all those events for Catherine Duggan. Thank you. Catherine Dugan. Thanks, Catherine. From the women 4x25-meter freestyle relay, Inge Hornby. Inge. Hi, Inge. Congratulations. Gold medal winner in 60 to 64 freestyle 800 meters, 60 to 64 individual medley 200 meters, and women's 4x25-meter freestyle relay, Shelley Johansson. Shelley, well done. Next, for 70 to 74, 200-meter freestyle men, 400-meter freestyle, and 50-meter freestyle, Ralph Motzek. Ralph, good for you. Well done. Still with swimming, 75 to 79, 25-meter backstroke, gold medal winner Nancy Ryan. One more. There we go. Nancy, great to see you again. Congratulations. Wow. Oh, it's okay. And finally, from swimming, gold medals in 75 to 79, 25-meter breaststroke, 50-meter breaststroke, and women's 4x25-meter medley relay, a name well known in local swimming, Joanne Van Oosten. Joanne. Well done. Could I get the gold medal winners for table tennis to come over here, please? And following table tennis, we will have tennis, so they could start to make their way as well. But first, table tennis, 70 to 74 doubles recreational men, Daniel Ford. Well done, Daniel. Good for you. 65 to 69 recreational men's singles, Chi Cheng Kao. Well done. Very good. '60 to 69 competitive mixed doubles, Jeannie Rincon. Jeannie, congratulations. And gold medal in 80-plus singles recreational women, Terry Chow Wei. Hey, Terry, congratulations. And we have two gold medal winners here from the 55-plus tennis event. Starting with 80-plus doubles for men, Ken Hope. Ken. Well done, Ken. And our other tennis gold medal winner, 70 to 74 singles men, Patrick Pilchin. Good for you. Congratulations. We're going to move to track and field next, and we have a number of presentations for track and field athletes. If you could come to this area, please. Don't be shy. You can come forward a little bit. We'll start with 65 to 69 high jumping for men, James Bissenden. Well done, James. Congratulations. Next, and I have to say this is pretty impressive, gold medals for women, 75 to 79 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 50 meters, 800 meters, and 65 to 69 4x100 mixed relay, and 60 to 64 power walk, and 4x400 meter relay for women, Sandra Bissesseur. And I have to say, I think this is pretty impressive as well. Not that they all aren't impressive, but next we have 75 to 79 pole vaulting for men, a gold medal for Sven Donaldson. Sven. Well done. And I should add for Sven also gold in 55 to 59 power walk and 4 times 400 meter relay for men. Well done, Sven. Next, 70 to 74 power walk 5,000 meters for women, and power walk 4 times 400 meter relay and 4 times 100 meter relay for women. Kathleen Kane. Well done. Next, 60 to 64, 1,500 meters and 5,000 meters and also 8,000 meters, gold medals for Holly Pirazzini. Holly, great to see you again. Still with track and field, 70 to 74, 400 meters for women and 800 meters for women, Deborah Punchon. Deborah, congratulations. Well done. And finally, for track and field, somebody I've known for many years. Well done, Matthew. 55 to 59 for 100 meters, 200 meters, 50 meters, power walk, 4 times 400 meter relay for men, and 4 times 100 meter relay for men. Matthew Stewart. Well done, Matt. Great to see you.
Great to see you, my friend.
Thank you. Yeah, you bet. Well done. Now, that wraps up our winners from the 55 plus BC Games, but we have several other awards to give out still. And I'd ask next to come forward Nanaimo Gymnastics athletes from the 2025 BC Provincial Artistic Gymnastics Championships. These are gold medal winners at the provincial level. And our first winner in gymnastics, gold at the BC Provincial Artistic Gymnastics Championship, Blake Fudge. Blake, congratulations. Well done. I will tell you that Blake won gold in level 8 all round, and Blake also achieved gold all round at a Western Canadian level at the 2025 Western Canadian Artistic Championships. Well done, Blake. Next, gold level at the provincial level, level 8, gold for Abby Harris. Abby, congratulations. Level 7, gold all round, Abby Doyle. Well done, Abby. Congratulations. Gold all round at level 6, Lauren Lofstrom. Lauren, well done. Still with provincial gymnastics, level 6, gold all round, Sophie Feyerman. And gold vault finalist, Nora Box. Accepting on behalf of. And I would just like to acknowledge everyone that Nanaimo Gymnastics was named BC Provincial Club of the Year this past year based on performances. Yes. Thank you. That award based on performances at BC Championships and Western Canadian Championships. I'd like to acknowledge head coach Tracy Welburn and coaches Trevor Nagy and Anna Madagavanova. Thank you. Next, a presentation for a gold medal winner at provincial level. This athlete represented Nanaimo District Secondary School at the BC School Sports Multi-Events Championships, and that is Tessa Bell. Tessa, please come forward. Hi, Tessa. Congratulations. Tessa won gold for the 2025 Junior Girls Heptathlon Championships. And ladies and gentlemen, we have one presentation left, and I warned him he would have to wait till the end of the evening. This is a gold medal winner at the national level, so it's pretty special. This athlete represented Team BC at the Canada Summer Games. Would Tyler McQuinney please come to the front area? Tyler. Congratulations, Tyler. Well done. Tyler won gold at the 2025 Canada Summer Games, gold for baseball. Very talented baseball player. So, ladies and gentlemen, that wraps us up. That concludes the Civic Sports Merit Awards for tonight. On behalf of City Council, congratulations again to all the recipients on their achievements, and thank you for attending tonight. You've done our city proud. My appreciation also to city staff for organizing the program tonight, Darcy Osborne, Damon Johnson, Amanda Daly, and others. Thank you very much, everybody. Good evening.
Named after one of Nanaimo's most notable celebrities, Diana Krall Plaza is an open public space in the heart of downtown Nanaimo. The space is one with plenty of potential, but most days it serves as little more than a space to pass through or to access the credit union or public library that have entrances that face the plaza. In essence, Diana Krall Plaza is a space that has yet to find its heartbeat. However, one event does make great use of the space each Thursday evening throughout the summer. The night market along Commercial Street brings food trucks, artisans, vendors, and entertainers in, transforming Diana Krall Plaza into the lively destination it was always meant to be. As downtown Nanaimo is reimagined, the goal for this key plaza is to carry the energy of the night market forward in a way that sees the space used well throughout each day and every season. Diana Krall Plaza was established in the late 1990s when the Port Theatre, the Harbourfront branch of the Vancouver Island Regional Library, and the Harbourfront Parkade were built. The plaza sits atop that parkade. This was a new approach to open space in Nanaimo, but the problem? The plaza was, and typically still is, empty. As the roof of a parkade, the plaza suffers from structural load limitations. The plaza can't support big trees or heavy features. Blank walls on adjacent buildings and minimal art leaves the space feeling uncomfortable and uninviting. Over the years, design ideas were brought forward, but none were realized. That, however, is about to change. In 2020, an advisory committee of volunteers, businesses, Vancouver Island University staff, and students, and the City of Nanaimo came together to re-envision Gianna Krall Plaza. Their goal? To create an actionable vision for the plaza that will lead to real change. Building on this groundwork, the project team held community workshops, a design charrette, and put in many hours of volunteer effort to create realistic ideas that would animate the space and make it feel inviting. Features like warm lighting, intriguing art, comfortable seating, and shade will bring the vision to life. The renewed space would also be a multi-purpose and ready for outdoor patio usage, informal play, and many different events, big and small. Now armed with ideas to greatly improve both the physical and social character of Gianna Krall Plaza, the design development for the first phase is underway, and with it, a new rhythm is being created for the heart of downtown Nanaimo.
There's a wing flutter of starlings, little specks that swoop low and then rise, gliding over cushions of air, like the gentle crest and trough of ocean waves, to fan out in oblivion. All is quiet and still again. You send ripples through still waters of ponds, making them glisten like 1,000 prisms bathed in the brilliance of a fall morning. Come dusk, you blow harder, and the leaves of the sprawling oak tree pirouette and glide in the air like little ballerinas, then sink onto the ground below. The breath of autumn. I stand atop a hill on an early morn and hear your beacon call. Your breath, as you whisper sweet nothings to the stately pines and conifers. You fly with your invisible cape, rustling through their slender branches to make stately willows dance and sway. You gently rise, your breath soft like a lullaby, as you transform maple trees from green to ochre to a flaming red, setting hillsides ablaze with the fiery plumes of cedars. You ascend to the gray sky to make wispy clouds play hide and seek with the setting sun. You send ripples through still waters of ponds, making them glisten like 1,000 prisms bathed in the brilliance of a fall morning. Come dusk, you blow harder, and the leaves of the sprawling oak tree pirouette and glide in the air like little ballerinas, then sink onto the ground below. A family of furry squirrels scurries down the rugged trunk of the old dogwood tree to nosedive into a pile of crinkled yellow leaves that were once skittering down the cobbled sidewalk. Welcome, autumn. It is fall. Cloud-mottled sky, shadow-flecked Mount Benson, silver-spangled Long Lake, silent creeks echoing shrill cries of a golden eagle that resound far and wide. Sparkling streams meander lazily, their mercurial waters networking the lush green fabric of a city called Nanaimo. Come summer, bushed heavy with blueberries and blackberries, skirt trails that wind through forests of oak and age-old cedars. Ducks and herons play hide and seek among the tall, swaying bulrushes, pock-marking still waters of a pond. Daisies smile and nod through overgrown ferns and nettle, all silently waiting, an expectancy that hangs in the air, a yearning for something new, a new season, a new makeover of nature. It is fall.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the June 1st regular meeting of Council. I'd like to first recognize that we are gathered on the traditional territory of the Snuneymuxw First Nation. Our clerk tonight will be Ms. Sheila Gurry. We also have, no, we've got everybody here tonight. That's good. No electronic attendances. Tonight's regular meeting of Council is being held in accordance with the Community Charter and Council Procedure Bylaw 2018, number 7272. If during the meeting any member of the gallery has a question regarding an agenda item, please write down your name and the agenda item on the sheet on the table to the double doors to my left where the question period sign-up sheet is located. And please note that the Council Procedure Bylaw states that questions will only be taken on staff reports, consent items, or other business items. Looking around the audience tonight, I think it's safe to say you're all familiar with the rules with respect to decorum and appropriate behavior, and I expect that will be the case tonight. The first item on the agenda is the introduction of late items, Ms. Gurry, and we have none. Motion for adoption of the agenda, moved Councillor Perino, seconded Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carried. Motion for adoption of the minutes is circulated. Moved Councillor Eastmere, seconded Councillor Armstrong. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Mayor's report, only a couple items tonight. The city has launched its dark sky viewing pilot project at Piper's Lagoon Park. That's a new dark sky viewing pilot at the park and is recognized as one of the best locations in the city to experience the night sky. Developed in partnership with the Nanaimo Astronomy Society, the project seeks to encourage public participation in night sky viewing while raising awareness about the importance of minimizing light pollution in urban environments. As part of the pilot, 2 viewing pads have been installed to provide stable and accessible areas for stargazing and telescope setup. Interpretive signage showing the night sky in all 4 seasons has also been added to help visitors identify features such as the Big Dipper, the Belt of Orion, and the North Star. The initiative reflects a growing interest in dark sky preservation and outdoor recreation opportunities within the community. Piper's Lagoon Park, as many of you know, offers unobstructed views and low ambient light levels, making it an ideal location. There is one other item, and I see he's probably moved himself out of the chamber, and that is Mr. Dale Burgos, who has been managing the city's communications for a few years now, one of our very good hires. This will be his last formal council meeting tonight. Mr. Burgos has taken another position at the Regional District of Nanaimo, so most of council will have an opportunity to continue to work with him, but on behalf of the citizens and council and all of those he worked with, I just want to extend to Dale sincere thanks for his hard work, for his dedication. As a communications person, he has faced a certain amount of flack on occasion from the public that was completely unwarranted and unfair. We wish him well in his new endeavors and are reminded, of course, that on occasion, historically, people leave the city of Nanaimo, go to the RDN, and then they find themselves coming back home, and we can only hope for the best. On that note, no presentations, no committee minutes, no consent items, no delegations unrelated to agenda items, no administrative reports, no development reports. We're on to bylaws, and the first is City Plan Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 6600.002. Councillor Hemmons.
Thank you, Your Worship. I move that City Plan Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 6600.002, pass third reading.
Seconded, Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Next is 14B, zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 2025, number 4500 decimal. Sorry, Ms. Gurry. Oh, pardon me, yes, the motion to be adopted. Pardon me, rushing along here. Too excited with all the athletic activity tonight. I'm feeling youthful. Councillor?
Thank you. I move that City Plan Amendment Bylaw 2025, number 6600.002 be adopted.
Seconded, Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. We are now on to zoning bylaw amendment, bylaw 2025, number 4500 decimal 243. Councillor Hemmens.
Thank you. I move that zoning bylaw amendment bylaw 2025, number 4500.243 pass third reading.
Seconded, Councillor Armstrong. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. The third is sign amendment bylaw 2026, number 2850 decimal 24. Councillor Hemmens.
Thank you. I move that sign amendment bylaw 2026, number 2850.24 be adopted.
Seconded, Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Item D, fees and charges amendment bylaw 2026, number 7336 decimal 15. Seconded, Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. E, miscellaneous bylaws repeal bylaw 2026, number 7451. Councillor Hemmens.
Thank you. I move that miscellaneous bylaws repeal bylaw 2026, number 7451 be adopted.
Seconded, Councillor Thorpe. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. And finally, respectful spaces amendment bylaw 2026, number 7381 decimal 02.
Thank you. I move that respectful spaces bylaw amendment 2026, number 7381.02 be adopted.
Seconded, Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. We have no correspondence. We have no notice of motions. We have under other business, however, Councillor Manley's motion, re-amendments to noise control bylaw 1994, number 4760. Councillor Manley, please.
For my mic. So this, I'd like to move the motion that staff review the noise bylaws of other communities and provide a report on options to limit construction noise in the Nanaimo noise bylaw, including allowable hours during work week and on whether construction noise is allowable on Sundays and statutory holidays. If there's a seconder, I'll speak to it.
Seconded, Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you. So we've had a number of complaints, and it's mostly related to, like, we're not allowed, we don't allow blasting outside of certain hours. I think it's 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Blasting and related activities, but we've had a lot of complaints for rock smashing using hydraulic excavators, which is a very loud process, and it's carried on for quite a while, a number of years, 7 days a week, weeks on end. And in particular in the Rock City neighborhood, but I know this has happened in other places. I looked at a number of other municipalities and what they do. We allow construction noise from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., which is usually an hour after young kids go to bed for school. A lot of parents put their kids down at 8 o'clock. I can't imagine trying to get kids to sleep when rocks are being crushed in the neighborhood. And we allow construction on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and on Sundays and statutory holidays. Looking at a number of other municipalities, some of those municipalities also doing major projects, a lot of construction going on, like Vancouver, Victoria, Surrey, Coquitlam, Burnaby. They all have restrictions. Our construction times are 14 hours a day. A lot of them have 12 hours a day, shorter hours on Saturdays, and some of them allow construction on Sunday but not on holidays, and some don't allow it on Sundays but allow it on holidays. So there's a lot of mix of different rules that apply. All of them have permitted processes, so when development companies are looking to extend hours, they can apply for a permit to extend hours for construction. Some of them have on city street lanes and boulevard times that allow for construction on Sunday or holidays, but not on, not for construction-related noise on private property. So there's just a number of different municipalities have different rules, and based on complaints that I've heard, I thought that it would be worthwhile for staff to take a look at this. I am in no rush for staff to do a report on this right now. I know that staff are busy, and so this could generally be at the end of the pile of things to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In order, Councillors Prino and then Armstrong.
Thank you, Your Worship. And a question through you to our staff. I'm just wondering, the hours that Councillor Manley mentioned, is that correct? Is everything that he said correct? It's longer than what I had anticipated. That's why I'm asking.
Thank you, through Your Worship, to Councillor Prino. So it depends on the activity. So for construction, demolition, those types of activities, excavation, it's 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sundays and statutory holidays. And for blasting, it is 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
And at all times on Sundays and statutory holidays. So,
Okay.
yeah, it is different depending on the activity.
Okay, and the only other question that I have, Your Worship, is obviously changing the hours, shortening them, definitely a positive for the public that is under, listening to it on a regular basis, is the cost of doing business for those companies or homeowners. Do you anticipate a huge amount of difference compared to what you're seeing out from other cities?
Through Your
I'm
Worship,
talking
again.
about the financial burden. I'm sorry, I should have labeled that a little more clearly.
No, that's okay. Through Your Worship, to Councillor Prino. So difficult to say. I mean, industry will be interested, but we do have actually a process to provide exemptions from the noise bylaw requirements, and that does happen for major projects from time to time. I don't actually handle those myself. Mr. Rosen might have a better idea of some of the more recent applications to exempt the noise bylaw, so to operate outside of the restrictions on the noise bylaw. There is a process for that to allow major projects to move ahead more expeditiously.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you. Through you to staff. I remember when this came up a while ago when the Bluestone Apartments over on Nelson and Uplands area, I think those were the ones that were going up, there was constant hammering on Sundays. And I talked to staff, and one of the things I heard then was the cost and time to a developer would increase substantially. Could you comment to that, please?
I couldn't, through Your Worship, to Councillor Armstrong, I mean, I couldn't comment on the cost, but it would, it's going to take a certain amount of hours to do the work, and if they're concentrated in the hours that they're able to operate because of the noise bylaw, then that's going to stretch it out farther over the number of days that they're working on it. So there would obviously be delays in projects advancing. The amount of work as far as the rock chipping or blasting would be the same. They would just have to stretch it out over a longer period. So there would be costs, but I would defer to industry reps to best answer what those costs might be. Thanks.
I can say that with the construction projects that the city lets out, and we do a lot of construction, we know that the more we constrain the contract, the higher the prices are going to be. So we can't speak specifically to the noise bylaw, but we do occasionally constrain projects because of like the road and there are periodically exemptions that are requested for the noise exemption bylaw. Typically those that are looked upon favorably are the large slab pours that can't be stopped. So they have to complete the slab and the polishing all in one operation. So sometimes they have to run beyond the end of day. So we'll approve those. There's a lot of exemptions requested by ferries that have to do work related to the tides. And then the third one is for really busy roads where you can't disrupt the road during the day. We do a noise exemption for work in the evening. Those are the main three ones that are looked upon favorably. But we do notice a correlation between cost and constraints.
Yeah, thank you, because I did talk to a developer at the time, and they said if you have to extend it, like even 4 Sundays or 5 Sundays, that their lending goes up considerably because of the interest rates on the dollars. So I'm a little bit concerned about it, because in my time on council, I think I've only seen 6 complaints on this. I could be wrong, but that's all I recall, so thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Brown.
Yeah, thank you. A question through to staff. Maybe you can answer this, maybe you can't. But is there any limitation, or do places do any limitation on the total amount of consecutive days done? Because I used to live actually near a place that they probably could have achieved what they wanted to achieve by just a couple days of blasting, but instead chose like 6 months of excavator work from like within the hours, and sometimes with outside, and it was just unfortunate. So there was just no break ever, and that was, I think, the challenge where, you know, I think if they chose an alternative form of, you know, works, it could have been done a lot quicker. So I'm just wondering if any places have limits on consecutive days.
I can speak to the exemptions, but if they're following the bylaw, we don't get involved in, because they're following the bylaw. But for the exemptions, we periodically put on constraints, because we don't want, like you said, we don't want to disturb people at night for too long. If they're near hotels, we limit things. So we're fairly careful with the exemptions, and we need to make sure that we balance the construction need with the impact on the community. But we only do that for the exemptions.
Right.
Yeah, and there are no, further to that, there are no constraints within the bylaw as far as the extent of the period, like Councillor Brown was referencing. So if they were to blast rather than over a shorter period, rather than rock chip over a longer period, there's nothing that's explicitly in the bylaw that would dictate to take the shorter period approach. So.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Gesselbrook.
Thanks, Mayor. Through you. Yeah, just the times listed off by Councillor Manley seemed quite permissive, and I would be curious, you know, what the other municipalities are doing that were listed. You know, there's some very large centers that were listed there, and I think, you know, having a noise bylaw that's aligned with sort of that type of standard is reasonable. So I think, you know, this is just asking for a staff report. But I do, you know, I've taken note of the complaints throughout the years, and I do think having, you know, solid guardrails in place is a smart thing. So I'd be keen to see a report on this. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Himmons.
Thank you. Through you to staff, can I ask, are we an outlier? Presumably we have some sense of how municipalities our size are mitigating this or working with it. Are we an outlier, in terms of how the 7 days a week that we allow it?
Your Worship, maybe I can take that one, because I think this bylaw is 1994, if I recall, and I think the last amendments done to it were 1997. So I don't think we've done any recent work on comparing to other bylaws. So I'm sure at the time the bylaw was brought in, we were consistent, but what's happened in the intervening 30 years, I couldn't speak to.
Thank you. I will, I'm going to support then, because I would like to understand where we sit in this and decide then if we have to make any changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thorpe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, yeah, I'm sort of two minds on this. I wouldn't mind, as Councillor Hemmons just said, seeing where we stand compared to others and what is considered best practice. But I recognize that if we limit the noise or construction during certain days or certain hours, that just extends the overall length of the time it takes for the project to get completed. And maybe that's more of an inconvenience or a nuisance to the neighbors than getting it all done a bit sooner would be. I personally can't recall a lot of complaints on this topic, so I'm not totally sure it's worth staff time for a report, but as I say, I'm not really opposed to finding out how we stand. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to support this, but I must say I'm very conscious of what the potential impact might be if council did make this a much more restrictive bylaw in terms of time. what is it, the Bible says, the wise man builds his house upon the rock and the foolish man builds his house upon the sand. And we have certainly encouraged development on rocky areas, less ecological damage, not cutting down trees, all of those sorts of things generally. So on one hand, we should be supportive of those folks who are breaking a little rock, so to speak, which seems to be the greatest source of complaints, and indeed I think it's probably the only significant source of complaints around this area. Having said that, it would be nice to know, as Councillor Hemmons and Councillor Thorpe and others have suggested, to know where we sit in terms of other municipalities. But I am very conscious of the fact that when you rent equipment as a contractor and it's sitting on site idle, you're still paying for it. And the developer is going to have to find some way to recoup those costs, either that or turn a winning project potentially or a profitable project into a losing project potentially. It does have an impact. Equipment that necessary to do this kind of rock breaking work and things related to it are very, very expensive pieces of equipment to operate. So I'm giving warning that I'm supporting the concept of getting a report, but I'm by no means saying that I will support restrictions on the hours. The work is going to have to get done, and I guess it's like the old Band-Aid analogy. Do you want it ripped off quickly or want it ripped off slowly, potentially? Councillor Manley, and then, well, let's go to Councillor Brown first. Councillor Brown, you haven't spoken on this? Yes, you did. Then we'll go to Councillor Manley and then Councillor Brown. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm not really in a rush to restrict what developers do. I just think that sometimes that some regulations are needed for some folks who don't necessarily concern themselves with the well-being of others, and that's why we have a lot of laws and regulations. I just have to say I'm disappointed that I didn't hear something from Exodus or Genesis or Isaiah about keeping the Sabbath, but from the mayor, but that's okay.
Give me time. Okay. Councillor Brown, then Councillor Armstrong.
Yeah, thanks, Your Worship. I will support this. I think it's just options, and I get the sense from Councillor Manley that it's not meant to be a big demand in terms of immediacy for staff. So happy to support that, and I would just add to this biblical theme that I think modern concrete has more sand in the mix than it does rock. So there we go.
Some sand in the gearbox. Councillor Armstrong.
I was just going to say, when this came up, I actually did my own search, and nobody in the Lower Mainland allows construction on Sundays or holidays. So they don't. Chilliwack doesn't, so the majority don't. Victoria doesn't. So I think it's cost of doing business, which I understand, but I would be interested in hearing, and I'm sure you'll talk to the developers, what would be the cost and what is the trade-off, because that will be a determining factor for me, because I did hear from other people they'd rather have the construction done over 4 months instead of 8 months. So that's something to think about too. Thank you.
Thank you. Not seeing any further speakers. Motions on the floor. All those in favor? And any opposed? Not seeing any. Thank you very much. Interesting debate here tonight. The next is Councillor Hemmons' motion, re-prohibited camping. Councillor Hemmons, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. I would like to move that Council direct staff to prepare a bylaw amendment to the Parks, Recreation and Culture Regulation Bylaw 2022 number 7340 to revise Schedule B to include Nob Hill Park and Deverell Square Park as locations where temporary shelter and overnight accommodation are prohibited.
Seconded, Councillor Perino. Councillor Hemmons.
Thank you, Your Worship. Council will be familiar with Schedule B of Bylaw 7340, which lists the city parks where overnight sheltering is prohibited. These include Maffeo Sutton, Georgia, McGregor, the Promenade, and others. The list was made with careful consideration and understanding of where folks were already sheltering without issue, balanced with the desire to protect our most heavily used parks and streamline enforcement efforts. Council is equally familiar with the unique situation the South End and Nob Hill neighborhoods find themselves in, playing host to significant concentrations of and proximity to social services. The motion we're debating tonight, if it passes, would pull those two parks into the restricted category of the bylaw. I arrived at tonight's motion after many weeks of dialogue with representatives from the South End Community Association, the Milton Hecate Block Watch Group, as well as city staff, where I learned the following. Overnight sheltering at Deverell poses less of an issue. It's already fairly restricted based on the proximity of open spaces to playground structures. However, regular camping, particularly in the summer months, is growing. Pulling this park into the bylaw would provide residents with the certainty and clarity they've requested from us as they navigate the challenges specific to their neighborhood. This is not dissimilar to the recently approved amendment to City Plan, where we stated our desire to see a more equitable distribution of social housing throughout the city. Nob Hill is a bigger problem. Camping is more common and there's ambiguity around if and where campers are allowed. We have no camping signage installed, yet the park is not included in the schedule of restricted parks, and further, applying the 20-meter buffer that's in the bylaw from playground structure pushes campers into the underbrush of the sensitive Gary Oaks in the park, which is complicated for bylaws. I want to be clear that I'm a supporter of the bylaw, which in effect designates spaces for people who have nowhere else to go, with nearly 100 unsheltered people in our community and some of the worst shelter stats in the province. Compassion must guide us. That compassion, however, must also extend to those who live in our most impacted neighborhoods and who are enduring significant daily strain as a result of the concentration of services around them. Thank you.
Thank you. In order, Councillors Armstrong, Eastmere, Brown, and Thorpe, please.
Thank you. I'll be supporting this. This neighborhood spent years trying to clean itself up back in the 90s. I remember that very well when it was used as a stroll, for the sake of argument. There was lots of issues. They worked really hard. They worked with the police. They worked with the neighbors to try and get things better. They also have shelters near them, which also brings people there. So I think it's pretty scary when you can't let your kids go to community neighborhood park. And I think personally, I think all neighborhood parks should be off limits, but we're not talking about that right now. But I'm more than happy to support this motion because I think these kids deserve to be able to go out and play safely. And it's very important to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Eastmere.
Thank you. I see the desire for this and why this is important to the South End Community Association and those neighborhoods. I think this does open up a more broad conversation around what makes a park an appropriate place for people to shelter overnight. And for me, you know, taking some parks off the list and then pushing people into other parks that don't have amenities for people to be able to really shelter overnight with what they need, which is like access to washrooms. Like if you're allowed to camp in a park overnight but there's no washroom accessible, like we're creating a messy situation, to say the least. So I'm interested in, and I know we have been having conversations about where people are able to sleep overnight if they do not have a home. And I know that's a very difficult challenge for us as a city because we have a serious lack of shelter beds in the city, especially during the summer, and pushing people into the parks creates safety risks around fires and heavy use in the off-trail areas of parks. So I just think it's a really tough issue, and we don't have appropriate places for people to camp overnight. And city parks are not set up in a way that really make them appropriate for overnight sheltering. They're just, right now it's like a last-ditch option, but they're not really set up for that. So I do think we should be having a broader conversation around, can we create a safe space in the city that is designated for camping overnight for people who do not have a home, that has access to running water and washrooms at the very least. But for now, with this particular conversation, sure, I'm supportive of removing camping in Nob Hill and Deverell Park. Those parks are not at all appropriate for overnight sheltering, but this is part of a much broader conversation that we need to do more on than just saying no camping here.
Thank you. Councillor Brown, Councillor Thorpe, and Councillor Manley.
Thank you, Worship. I have a comment that leads into a question for staff. And it's going back some time though, but you know, I believe the purpose of this bylaw was brought in after the judicial ruling with respect to camping in parks could not be necessarily prohibited if there wasn't enough shelter space within a given community for or there wasn't enough beds or shelter space in a community for those that were experiencing homelessness. So, at the time, there was conversation, and I think most of that work was done by staff around identifying parks that would provide, I think, the kind of parks that we imagine parks being, and that's, you know, safe places for all those that use them, while also finding balance with meeting kind of whatever that judicial ruling laid out without, you know, a perfect formula. So my question through to staff is, if the way this motion reads, it's a direct amendment, and I completely understand it's a direct amendment to address 2 parks. My question through to staff, though, is doing so, if staff read this motion literally, would there be any of that internal discussion about finding that balance to make sure that we're kind of safe from legal challenge?
Your Worship, absolutely, this amendment to our parks bylaw came from that court decision. There's no question it was a direct relation between needing to find that balance and looking for places where people who do not have access to shelter can provide or can be accommodated on a temporary basis, and it is just the overnight hours that are allowed. So we were very careful in terms of which parks were restricted, and there is a list in the bylaw where no camping is allowed, and those primarily those areas along our waterfront from Departure Bay all the way to Cameron Island, I would say. A couple of additional points are like around City Hall, the gardens around City Hall, but there's also a provision in there about 20 meters away from any improvement in a park. So that'd be like a playground or a pool or a garden, washroom facility. So if you apply those setbacks, there's actually a number of parks, especially smaller neighborhood parks, that would be excluded. So we kind of, and we recognized this at the time, pushed people generally to our larger parks as places where temporary accommodation was permitted. So that was the balance, trying to protect the infrastructure, trying to protect neighborhoods, but also respect the court order at the time. On the 2 that are in front of you tonight, I would say, I haven't mapped it out myself, but I would be almost certain that Deverell Square, if you applied the 20 meter setback around all, like the play fields and everything, there is no place to camp there. It would be one of those parks that would be excluded because of the setbacks, but having it clearly in the bylaw would be helpful. Haven't done the same for Nob Hill. I suspect there's a small area in the middle of that park maybe where arguably camping would still be allowed for under the bylaw, but it would be very limited in area, but still it is definitely occurring.
Okay, and if we, like, I'm just cognizant, if all of a sudden we start adding on park after park, at what point are we risking the legal challenge of effectively prohibiting camping in parks citywide?
I don't know the answer to that. I think unless the courts provide further clarity around that, I guess that's always a risk. It's a risk with our existing bylaw maybe today too. But we do have one thing that I'm always blessed with is a significant amount of park land. Is it in the most accessible locations for people? I don't know, but we do have some fairly large parks where this is still allowed and can be accommodated under the bylaw.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little bit torn by this one just because, like, I fully appreciate any neighborhood park. Don't want camping, but I'm also worried that if we start pushing people into too deep of parks, the associated fire risk of that, when you don't know where folks are camping, can increase. So, ultimately, I think I'll vote in favor of this because it would come back with amendment bylaws and a staff report. So I will support it at this stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Thorpe.
Thank you, Your Worship. Through you, I tend to agree with the comments of Councillor Brown. and I have the bylaw in front of me and the schedule of prohibited parks and amenity areas, and I know this list was drawn up with great care based on certain criteria. And I guess on the one hand, absolutely empathize with the South End neighborhood and the challenges that they've experienced. But I also feel that, quite frankly, the optics of this makes me uncomfortable because it gives the appearance that we are favoring one neighborhood over potentially others. And I'm sure there are other neighborhoods with neighborhood parks that could make a similar plea and be just probably as well justified. So I would have been much more comfortable if this was an operational recommendation by staff based on their observations, rather than simply being a political decision, which appears to have very political ramifications. So with respect to Councillor Hemmons, I'm not sure I'd like to support it, and I probably will, but for those reasons, I'm not totally comfortable with it.
Thank you. Councillor Manley, then Councillor Perino, then Councillor Hemmons.
Thank you. There's good discussion around the table here. I hate to see people camping in parks. And we hear complaints about and serious concerns about people camping in Bowen Park. And I live half a block from Bowen Park, and it's a serious concern for myself and my neighbors about fires that, and I've talked to the fire chief about this the number of times they've had to go in there. We need to get beyond this situation. You know, we have a court ruling that says that people, if they don't have access to shelter, have a right to camp in city parks. And I recall in the 1980s when food banks were a temporary measure, and now they are an institution to the point where we're building a massive warehouse for our local food bank. And we need to get back into building affordable housing so that low-income seniors and people with disabilities and low-wage workers have a place to live and a decent place to live, and that shelters are for emergency purposes only. But at this stage, I think I will support this. I do share the concerns that Councillor Brown has expressed about the legal concerns, and I do hear from people in other parts of the city that are, you know, the Partizza Park up in Bebin, Bowen Park. We hear from people regularly about concerns in these other parks, and so you know, we advocate to the provincial government for more affordable housing and more shelter spaces, and that's the work that we need to continue to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Perino.
Thank you, Your Worship. It's interesting, when I first read this, it's the fire risk, right? We've got all these beautiful, huge trees throughout our parks, and having people camping there needing to keep warm or cook food, it's a dangerous mix. And the very first thing that I thought of when I saw the two parks was, good, two less that don't have to face the horrible risks that are out there. What I'm wondering, through you, Your Worship, if I could ask a question of staff, something that Councillor Thorpe said about operational, and I tend to agree with that statement, and I'm just wondering if staff, from an operational perspective, are there other parks, or are these two that would have been considered? Are there others that you would have considered as well?
Your Worship, I don't think staff have really turned their minds to reviewing this list since the bylaw was drafted, so I don't think I can really answer that question.
Okay.
Other than acknowledging we have certain parts of our community that are definitely under strain and have been, and we're seeing, you know, more activity in some areas of the city than others. That's just the reality.
Yeah. Okay, so the strain of what people are going through in our community is horrible, and we know we need help, obviously, from the provincial government. But the strain that our parks and the neighborhoods are going through is also a huge consequence, and we need to mitigate some of that. So for that reason, I'll be voting in favor of this. But I definitely, I think it's important to note there is some legal issues that we could be facing, and that was an important comment that we heard here at this table. But I think for the life of our parks, I think we need to be as protective as possible. So I'll be voting in favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hemmons and Councillor Armstrong.
Thank you, Your Worship. I just want to address the timeline so people don't feel like this is a push for votes, which I'm starting to get a little whisper of. So On April of this year, I was contacted by folks in the Block Watch from Nob Hill. Sika looped me in. I looped Dale in. We had a conversation with bylaws. This went back and forth over several weeks' time. I tried to resolve this in the background when I was advised probably easiest and cleanest to bring it to the table. So that's why we're here. I'm not attempting anything political here other than to protect the parks that are under significant strain. And we can advocate to the provincial government 100% for more funding, for more housing, for more health services, but this is something we have within our control tonight that provides some sense of calm for these neighborhoods. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Armstrong?
I just wanted to echo what Councillor Hammond said. We've been hearing about the issues from there. We're not hearing about them from other areas. And there is no legal consequences. I sat through all that. We had legal opinions. We could only designate one park, and that would be fine, so long as there's enough space for those homeless people to go. But what staff did, and I recall this very well, is they tried to balance the need of the community as well of those that are facing homelessness and need to erect tents. That's why Bowen Park was chosen in Bevan in those areas, because you could balance the needs of the community and whatever. I don't think the Supreme Court, or the, I think it was the Supreme Court of BC ruling, ever intended for the camps to be in neighborhood parks. It was more about the big parks where you could balance community needs. And every place that I've read, if there's a lot of children in an area, they're banned. So I don't see myself any legal things, and I think this is something that the community has dealt with for many, many years, and I think it's a very reasonable request to ask for those two to be removed, so be voting 100% in favor.
Thank you very much. I'm not seeing any other speakers. Motion's on the table. All those in favor? And any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Anything on question period, Ms. Gurry?
I don't think all of those are under other business.
Okay. Prohibited camping. Ms. Bruni, please.
Good evening, Bruni, Stewart Avenue. You know, homeless people have to be somewhere, and my question to you, this council, is if you would consider a designated campsite, a campsite with facilities, so then the people wouldn't have to be hanging out down street, and they would have some semblance of a life. Would you consider that, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Hemmons. All right. Someone's asked about bike rentals, but that's not on the agenda at all tonight. Sorry. That's Mr. Paragnello. Same on the size of the city fleet. Again, not on the agenda. But we do have 17B. Mr. Annesley, that's the prohibited camping motion.
Yeah,
Evening.
Hey, good evening, guys. I think, Mr. Lindsay, you touched on it, but can I just get, it doesn't have to be super detailed, but can you give me a couple of parks that are on this prohibited restricted list, specific park?
I can get, so Maffeo Sutton, the Promenade, anything connected to the Port Walkway,
Okay.
Georgia Park, which is again downtown, McGregor Park, again downtown. It's generally the parks that have
Are close to-
high volume. Yeah, but I can.
Or that are close to the water, I think you said it, is that true too?
Yeah, it's, I don't know if that's a criteria, close to the water, but they all are.
Yeah.
I can send you the list right now. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Charles Myerscough? Same question, camping in parks. Mr. Myerscough, please. Just introduce yourself for the record. Ask your question, please.
I'm Charles Myerscough. My question is this: does anybody been through any of the parks for which there is a bylaw that you cannot camp in around 2 a.m. because there's people camping it every night of the week? How do I know this? Because I've been homeless and I've been out at some of those parks at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, if I may, thank you for that. That is absolutely true. It's happening, and that's why we're having this discussion tonight. The intent of the motion tonight was to empower residents to be able to call bylaws if they see someone camping in the park. So it streamlines and makes more efficient our enforcement and provides some safety to the neighborhood, or sense of safety.
Okay, thank you.
For the question.
Thank you. Moved Councillor Armstrong, seconded Councillor Perino. All those in favor? Any opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending tonight.